and 1. All right. So I will get this started. It is recording. It says to work independently on the task. A fisherman illegally introduces some fish into a lake and they quickly propagate. What the heck does that mean? Huh? They spread. Yes. They spread because they were, what's the word? Having baby fish, right? What's that word? Mating. Reproducing. Thank you. You see, I don't get to talk about this much in math. I guess I should here. Wow. Propagate. I think of plants propagating. Anyway. Okay. The growth of the population of this new species within a period of a few years is modeled as P of X is equal to 5 times B to the X power, where X is the time in weeks. X is our time in weeks. Following the introduction, and B is a positive unknown base. And you're like, well, that's real nice, Miss Thede. That doesn't help me much. Okay? So that's the backstory on the illegal fish. All right? So let's go to the next page. I'm going to rewrite this equation. So P of X is equal to 5 times B to the X power. Letter A says, how many fish did they release? Does anybody got an answer for that? I don't like how they said they. Maybe it's the word they that's throwing you off. How many fish did he release? If I say he, does that help you? Anybody? That doesn't help at all? 5. How did you get 5? It's the initial amount, right? So in my exponential function, if you remember, it is A is equal to some P times 1 plus or minus the R all to the T power. So P, before we get to our growth rate or growth decay or decay rate or decay factor, blah, blah, blah. Man, I didn't think it was that bad, is 5. So how many fish did they release? They released 5. How do we find out? It is the initial amount. Okay, so everybody see how we got 5 there? Okay. Now, it says, what is B? What is B? Now, in your books, on page 129, it says, find B if you know that the lake contains 33 fish after 8 weeks. Show step-by-step work. What is B, first of all, in general? How would you describe it? What is B? What is this B right here? What do we call this? Besides a variable. Yes, very good. So B is our growth factor. Could be our decay factor, but I get the feeling that these fish are going to be increasing. Okay? Now, let's go and put in some numbers. It says find B if you know the lake contains 33 fish after 8 weeks. Find B, we have 33 fish after 8 weeks. Okay. Do we think this is an exponential function? Probably, right? if our t is in terms of weeks, so we know the initial one was a equals p times 1 plus or minus r to the t power, right? A, do we have an amount that we know has happened? 33, very good. So 33 goes in place of the A, equals, we have the initial amount. What's the initial amount again? 5. We started with 5 fish. And then we've got this B. We don't know what B is, but it's to the T power. And T is time. How much time has gone by? 8 weeks. So that is to the 8th power. We need to solve for B. So if I want to solve for B, what do I need to do? Divide. Yes, I'm going to divide by what? Divide by 5. 5's cancel out on the right. Divide by 5 over here. I'm going to rewrite this over here. I have B to the 8th power is equal to 33 divided by 5. And I'm going to leave it like that. Now, I don't want B to the 8th power. I want B by itself. Right, but we don't call it the square root, but I know what you're talking about. We're going to take the 8th root of B to the 8th power. That means what times what times what? 8 times gives me that amount of B. So if I take the 8th root of that, I need to take the 8th root of 33 divided by 5. In case you've forgotten, that means you start with the root, whatever it is. You hit the second button. Then you hit the caret button because that gives you the x root. Okay. Then you put in 33 divided by 5. Hit enter. And what do we get for B? B is equal to what? Put 8 first. Well, that's with the yellow calculators. Okay. 33 fifths. 33 divided by 5. I can't really see it. Do you have the 8th root of 33 divided by 5? Hit enter. Yeah. Should be 1.266. Second, and then caret. So this is going to be 1.266. And B, we know, is our growth factor. How do we know it's growth? It's greater than 1. So we know it increased, right? Now, we need to find out what is our growth. Well, no, we don't. Do we? No. B is growth factor. Find B. I guess we found B. It doesn't ask for R. But let's say we want R, just in case. Our growth rate, we know, is equal to B, which is also 1.266, which is 1 plus our rate. So what is my rate? 1.266 is equal to, parentheses, 1 plus my rate. So what's my rate? Right. And that's the decimal amount. How would I change that to a percent? Move it 2 places to the right. So my rate is 26.6%. That is the growth rate. which they didn't really ask for, but I thought it was probably good that we went ahead and solved for it.
It's still in.
B. Still in B.
So, see,
Yes.
if you write it in the form, you would put it on the calculator real fast. Like, instead of where it says like 8 in the second, and then like you write out full out, like how would it look on the calculator?
Okay. I will try how it will look on a calculator.
Yeah, like you type it in to like solve it.
Well, that's what you would type in. I'm not sure I understand. So not what you would type in, but
Yeah,
what it looks like?
Yeah, like the actual place.
I think that's it. I don't understand.
Like, let me show you. The second and this one. And you write it. Then you delete, then you put, 33.
Do you start with the 8 too? Okay. So you start with 8, second caret, and then whatever it is you're taking the 8th root of, and then enter. Did you get it? All right. I can show you towards the end of class too, just to make sure. Okay, let's go on. Did you get it? Kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. Part C, hypothetically, if B is equal to 2, and remember B is our growth factor. Growth factor. If B is equal to 2, what would that mean the growth rate is? So B is equal to 2. We know B is also equal to 1 plus the rate. So 1 plus the rate gives me 2. Well, what's my rate then? What is it?
1, 2, 6.
No. So this is if B is equal to 2. They're saying hypothetically. So this is a different problem, slightly different problem. If B is equal to 2, and we know B is the growth factor, and we know the growth factor is equal to 1 plus the rate,
1.
the rate is equal to 1. 1 whole. 1 whole. Now, what is that as a percent? It is not 1%. If you're talking about one whole item, yes, you move it 2 places. The decimal point follows at the end of a whole number. 2 places to the right, you're talking about a 100% growth rate. 100% growth rate. And then it says, what does that mean in common language? If you have a 100% growth rate, let's say your hair grows really fast, and let's say it's 4 inches long. If I have a 100% growth rate, how long will my hair be?
4 inches.
It's 4 inches now. If I don't have any growth rate, it's going to stay at 4 inches, right? If I have a 100% growth rate, it'll be 8. So 4-inch hair goes to 8-inch hair in length, or whatever you want to call it. What does that mean? What happened in common language? If you have a 100% growth rate, that means that your item is going to double. The item doubles. Okay? That's your growth factor. Well, the growth rate is 100%. The factor is 2. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. So, Miss Bieshke's like, oh, this isn't going to take very long. We need to go to the next one. So we are going to go on to the next one. I don't know how she expects me to put these calculations in with all this little space. Anyway, wine. Do you want some cheese with that wine, Miss Thede? Sure. Did I just say that and record it? That's not good. Oops. We might have to record this again. 5-3. Yes.
You said we're gonna go over, we still doing that?
Yes. 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 We should have time. All right. So this is page 130. Buying a car. All right. We're not going to follow it exactly as what's on here, but can I have someone read that top paragraph about buying a car? I'm going to need 3 readers. Oh, jeez, I can read one. I'll read the first one because it's the longest. So, buying a car. You wish to purchase a certain car. 2 dealerships in town are selling the car for $20,000. Both dealerships are unique in unusual finance offers. Rather than monthly payments, you are charged interest over time. Yet you are expected to pay the car off plus the interest in one lump sum payment at a date of your choosing. The dealerships don't want to deal with paperwork and are really only interested in loaning you money with interest. However, each offers a different payment plan. You have discretion of when you want to pay off this car. So that's kind of crazy, huh? You can decide when you want to pay off the car, but you have to pay it off all in one lump sum. Okay? Can I have someone read about dealership A?
I'll read.
Thank you.
It says, no down payment needed or payments in the first year. When you do pay for the car, you will make one full payment for the car plus any interest
Accrued.
accrued. This plan comes with a 12% interest per year charge.
Okay. So this is dealership A. You guys go ahead and put this on page 130. I don't have any extra spaces, and I didn't add them myself because we weren't sure we were doing this. This is dealership B. Okay. How much is the car initially at dealership A? What's the car price we're looking at? $20,000. Okay. We have to pay it in one lump sum. And we have to pay a 12% interest rate per year. Okay? Per year. All right. That's dealership A. Dealership B. Can I have someone read that paragraph for B? Okay.
No down payment needed, no fees or penalties for not making payments. Again, you will make one full payment for the car plus any interest accrued. This plan charges 1% interest per year.
Okay. So we still have the same car, $20,000. We still are going to pay one lump sum. The difference is that we are going to be paying 1% interest monthly. So we need to figure out, are we going to get our car from dealership A or from dealership B? Okay. Does anybody have any initial thoughts? Any guesses? Are they going to be the same?
I feel like they'd be the same.
You feel like they would be the same? Why?
Because dealership B pays 1% monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And dealership A pays 12% per year.
Uh-huh.
And there's 12 months in a year.
12 months in a year. Yeah.
So
1% for each month. That seems to make sense, right? Okay. All right. So we have 1, 4. They should be the same. Anybody else have any thoughts?
Maybe it's like a one lump sum.
One lump sum means you pay for everything one time. You're not paying it over several months or several years. You pay it all, the whole price, the interest plus the price of the car at one time. Okay? Any other thoughts before we begin?
I
Yeah,
have a question.
Sure.
It says, the interest fee, like,
How much interest is going to cost you? Yes.
yeah, do you have to worry about that? Or,
Do we what?
like, the interest fee, is that included in the 20,000?
That is not. So 20,000 is just the price of the car.
So do you have to worry about that as well?
Yeah, we'll have to worry about that too. Any other thoughts before I show you? Do you want to go back to study hall? Or you want to stay in here? Yeah, sure. I don't care. Did your teacher saw that note, so they knew you were here? Yeah, that's fine with me. All right, so let's do some wheeling and dealing. Okay. Do you think this is going to be a linear function, a quadratic function, or an exponential function? Why do you think exponential?
Because it has the both of them have a percent.
Okay, percent. There is a percent.
And like
So that could be a growth rate or a decay rate. Do we think this is showing growth? Gonna show growth or decay? If you're talking about interest and they're charging you interest, growth. Yes, they're charging you. All right, so this is what my initial calculation looks like, okay? We have A is equal to capital P, the initial amount, times 1 plus or minus my rate, whatever that rate is, to the T power. Does everybody agree with that? Yeah, that looks good. All right, so we need to start trying to fill this in. What is this $20,000? Where am I going to put that? It is the cost of the car. Is that the ending cost, or is that the initial cost? Is that the rate, or is that the time? It's the initial cost, okay? So I'm going to say A, we probably is what we're figuring, equals P, my initial cost of $20,000, times 1 plus or minus the rate. So that is going to be 1 plus 12%. How do I write 12%? 0.12. Yes, we move it 2 places to the left when you're going the other direction. All to the T power. And T is in terms of what for dealership A? Per year. So T is in years. T is in years. All right, let's go over to dealership B. So using this same formula, exponential formula, we have A equals my initial amount. What's my initial amount again? $20,000 times 1 plus, what is my rate here? 0.01, right? So I go 2 places to the left, 0.01. And we are calculating this monthly. But I can't compare a monthly rate to a yearly rate. So how could I change this T, which is monthly, to a year? times 12, right? If you had a monthly rate and it was $35, how much would it cost you for the year? 12 times 35. Here I have a monthly rate of T. To get it to a year, to compare year to year, I need to multiply it by 12T. That is really important to understand. Does everybody see how I did that? To go from month to year, multiplied by 12. All right. So over here, I have A equals 20,000 times 1.12, and let's just figure it out. Let's say at the end of a year, we're going to pay this off. We don't have to pay anything during the year, but at the end of 1 year, we're going to pay it off. So I'm calling this T 1 year. Okay? So how much is it going to cost me at dealership A? Don't forget, you need to do your exponent first. And what is anything to the first power? It's just that same number, right? So just multiply those numbers together. Tell me what you get.
I'm like 22,400.
22,400. So it's going to cost you $20,000 for the car and $2,400 in interest for the year. What do you think about that? You're like, right? That's just 1 year. What if you took a lot longer to pay for it, like 3 years? It's going to increase, yeah. Okay, but that's just dealership A. Let's go to dealership B because they had a much smaller rate, but that was monthly, and then we changed it to yearly. So this is going to be A equals $20,000 times 1.01 is my growth factor. We are going to take 12T. I'm going to move the 12 on the inside because we can do that. That's kind of what we talked about yesterday. Remember, we had A to the B power to the C, and we said that is A to the BC. Well, I'm doing it backwards. I had that to the 12T, and now I'm separating it. 1.01 to the 12th power, and then to the T power. Well, we said which is 1, sorry. 1 year.
So you said you put the 12 inside?
Inside, yes. Which doesn't make a whole lot of difference since we're talking about 1. But what is 1.01 to the 12th power? And then take that times $20,000. Anyone?
I'm like 22,536.
$536. Do we have some cents? 0.50. So this is at dealership B. It's going to cost you $22,536.50 at the end of a year if you pay it off. At dealership A, it costs you $22,400. What's the better deal for you? Dealership A. Dealership A is going to be the better buy for you. Now, let me show you one more thing. If I did this in terms of months, because this was all for the year, right? If I did this in terms of months, okay, we had my rate over here. It was 20,000 times 1.01, and it was to the T power, right? Whatever month it is. If I looked at the yearly one, it still starts out $20,000 times 1.12. It still had the same rate, if this is year and it was a T and I want to make it into a monthly, what would I need to do? If T represented 1 year and I wanted to change it from yearly to monthly, how could I figure that out? Let's say you pay $1,200 for the whole year. How could you figure out how much to pay per month? Divide it by 12, right? So take the T, divide it by 12, and I would rewrite it then like this. I would take the 1/12 and say 1.12 to the 1/12 power, because this is really 1/12 times T, right? I would separate it and say, okay, the 1/12 goes with the number and the T comes on the outside. And when you multiply it all together, dealership A still is going to have the better buy for you. But I want to make sure you understand how you go from a yearly amount to a monthly amount. Okay, think about logically things. If I have to pay $1,200 for the whole year to get it into a monthly payment, I divide it by 12. If I have to pay something for the whole year, or no, the other way around. Monthly, and I want to take it to the whole year, I would multiply it by 12. Okay? Still going to get the same amount. All right, we have just a little bit to talk about this Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme. All right, so let me clear this. Clear ink. Take this off. Someday, I really need to figure out just how to get a blank white thing. So this is, I think it is homework 7.3. 7.3 talks about Max and a Ponzi scheme, and this is on page 123. Okay. So it says, do you want to get rich quick? Just follow the instructions carefully below and you may never need to work again. At the bottom of this email are 8 names and addresses. Send $5 to the name at the top of the list. Delete that name, add your own name and address at the bottom of the list. Send this email to 5 new friends. Okay, so we have this man, his name is Max, and he's going to try this get rich possibility, right? So in the first round, Max is going to send this to 5 friends, okay? How many people does he send it to then? 5. All right. In the second round, oh shoot, sorry. Thank you. I always forget. In the second round, Max has sent it to his 5 friends, and then each of his 5 friends is going to send it to 5 more. Right? So he has sent it to his 5 friends. Each of those 5 is going to send it to 5 friends, which is 5 to the second power, which is 25. In the third round, Max has sent it to his 5 friends. Those 5 friends send it to 5 of theirs. They send it to 5 of theirs. That's 5 to the third power, which is 125. So far, all we're talking about is friends, right? Fourth, how many friends, where is he at the 4th round? How many people will supposedly be sending him money? How many people will be sending him money? 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, or since it's the fourth round, 5 to the fourth power. Okay? By the time we get to the 8th round, Max is going to be at the top, right? How many people are going to owe him money? 5 to the 8th power, which is some giant number, and it says how much money would be sent to him. If everybody sends him $5, it would be that many people times $5, right? Because he's now at the top. All those people would send him money. So that answers your first question. And what could possibly go wrong? That's the answer, or that's question 2. And why are these illegal? All right. So this didn't really have to do with any specific formula, just kind of thinking about patterns. It's more about a pattern. Okay? All right.